camera with his blue-white control deck. And again, here we go, another mono-blue Devotion deck played by Evan West. We join the action in game number 2. Max Tietze has won game number 1, and he's facing off against a Thassa, God of the Sea, which is tapped. I guess it attacked there because there's enough Devotion. There's a Jace, Architect of Thought, a Bident of Thassa that is being activated, and Max leans over to read it. It says that all of Max's creatures must attack, and a Frostburn Weird. So Max forced to attack with these soldiers. Don't know if the Jace was +1 this turn. On 3, it's very possible that it was. Perhaps there was a -2 and then a +1, so we will know momentarily. Max Tietze casts Last Breath on the Frostburn Weird. Thassa is still a creature, though, at this point.
A Jace of his own.
He's going to reveal 3 cards. Land, land, land. Not what he's looking for, perhaps. Okay, so Max Tietze is only at 13 life, facing off against a active creature form, Thassa, God of the Sea, and her or his Bident.
Now that's something we have not seen yet on camera, at least when I've been watching. The activation of the Bident to force the opponent to attack. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting, we saw earlier on camera, I believe it was you and I watching, where one of the players didn't activate their Thassa to make creatures unblockable after surprise blockers came in the way. There's a lot of abilities on this card. Bident of Thassa, the tap ability, forces all of your opponent's creatures to attack. Siren's Call, as it will.
Yeah, and in conjunction with Jace, Architect of Thought, you see Evan -2 there, but in conjunction with the +1, just completely blanking those soldier tokens possibly. But here he decides to dig a little further.
We see the split there. It was Island, Island versus a spell that was just slightly off camera. We didn't see that one at all. There we go, Tidebinder Mage.
Tidebinder Mage into his hand. Tidebinder Mage, not the greatest against blue-white control, but needing to keep it in just as a 2-drop that provides 2 Devotion for Master of the Waves and Thassa.
I mean, you're in these matchups where you're planning on being the aggressor against a control deck. Just having another Grizzly Bear is just fine. You know, it's not exciting, but attacking for 2 is an age-old plan when it comes to fighting a control deck.
And Evan West now attacks for 5. Looks like he wants to attack Max's Jace, Architect of Thought. Deny him future use of that. Max is tapped out, no answer.
Now, the reason he might have been taking so long is with that Bident out, Bident acts like a coastal piracy. All of your creatures draw you a card when they hit the opponent. So while he did kill the Jace, it did mean he wasn't drawing a card. Still seems like a fine choice by Evan West.
Yeah, and I think the reason that he didn't +1 his Jace, even though he has the Bident mana open to force those soldiers to attack, is he has another Jace in his hand, a Jace Memory Adept. So maybe he just wants to bait this here, get rid of his first Jace, and then get second Jace. It's like second dinner.
I thought you were going to say second breakfast or second dinner.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm kind of hungry. I need to have my first dinner. Okay, so Max Tietze now has untapped. He's got 3 soldier tokens from Elspeth, Sun's Champion, that probably was out earlier and went away. And now really, Evan doesn't even need to activate his Bident. I feel like Max is committed to attacking that Jace. Yeah, so he's going to attack with 2 of them. One can be blocked by the Nightveil Spectre, and the other one will get through.
Now, as long as Evan doesn't have some sort of surprise, this will destroy the Jace that's in play. And Max doesn't go in with all of the creatures because he, I believe, is going to chump block that Thassa to prevent Evan West from drawing 1 card further into his deck.
If he can, if Evan lets him.
That's the plan. Thassa, of course, can make creatures unblockable for
Is it
a
other
mere
creatures?
blue 1.
I think it... Let me look real quick. No, it's target creature you control.
Yeah.
Oh, Cyclonic Rift. So Evan blocking one token.
That was pretty devastating for Max Tietze. Evan West has the trick.
So he didn't tap for the Bident because maybe he wanted Max to only attack with 2 there on the Jace. Gonna keep this Jace around.
We see Max Tietze going for a draw 5. And the gaining 5 life is nothing to be laughed at. This does mean that Nightveil Spectre is going to be really amazing this turn, because not only will it be able to take a top card from Max Tietze's deck, but it'll get to draw a card. And if Evan wants to spend the 2 mana to make his own Thassa unblockable, that would mean he could draw 2 cards this turn. Here they come.
Will he activate Thassa?
It's an interesting question. There's lots of reasons to do so.
He does.
He wants the extra card, and he wants the damage.
So 7 damage. A card. Oh, Hallowed Fountain. That's a good one to get. Sets up your future possibilities.
I actually really like laying that Hallowed Fountain just to get more mana on the table that let you have the ability to play your opponent's spells in the future.
Oh yeah, it's so fun. Like, is there anything more fun than beating your opponent with their own spells?
We see the +1 on the Jace.
Okay, so now that soldier token, if it attacks, is not going to be able to do anything to Jace. Evan West needs. I think he needs to play a little faster here.
And he passes the turn. Evan West is in the kind of the lucky position in having the more aggressive deck, that if the game lasts longer, he has a better chance of finishing up a game 3 than Max Tietze does. But he certainly still doesn't want to get into the land of draws. Draws are bad.
Yeah, you look at Evan West, he's 11-3-1, so he already does have 1 draw. So I don't know what the positioning is, and if Evan wins, is he into the top 8? Max certainly is if he wins.
Evan activates the Bident, forces the soldier to attack, and effectively he's putting on layaway the unblockable ability from the Thassa from before. This Jace has already been activated, so that's a 0-1 soldier when it comes over, and Evan just ignores it, shrugs it off.
Yep, hand wave.
Yep.
He remembers his trigger by saying, no damage.
That's a very good spell to cast here. Detention Sphere. Plenty of targets. Is it going to be the Thassa? Goodbye, Thassa. Go. You've got detention.
That is undoubtedly correct, but the Nightveil Spectre, possibly the second most threatening thing here. Also a big problem if you don't deal with it.
I mean, just Thassa, Bident of Thassa and Nightveil Spectre by themselves can run away with the game, even if Evan West never activated the Chase ever again.
Yeah. I mean, Max has to Detention Sphere the Thassa because it is a creature, it's a 5-power creature, and it's indestructible. So this is one of his few real answers to it, hoping to have some kind of follow-up for... And there's one right there, Celestial Flare.
Goodbye to Nightveil Spectre. And Evan has already laid a land.
Well, that's interesting because he could have Detention Sphered the Nightveil Spectre and then Celestial Flared the Thassa. Make him sacrifice it.
If he did that, then Thassa would not be a creature.
There's the Bident. There was Bident and Jace. And Thassa,
oh yeah, the
so
Jace was still out. I didn't see it in the graveyard because it was off the table. You're right.
I don't think ultimately. I guess it could matter in the long run with Cyclonic Rift on Detention Sphere. But now, Evan, we saw 2 Thassas revealed off of that Jace -2. He plays 1. Not quite back up to Devotion yet.
And
now it is.
We are. And does Max have a response to this Jace? He has been basically saying, yep, yep, yep. Are we going to say yep once more?
Yeah, this blue-white control deck. Haven't seen counters, but there's one. Dissolve.
Yeah, so he let that Thassa happen, and he's stopping this Jace. You see a Gainsay, it looks like, in... oh, that's another Dissolve?
You mean in Evan's hand?
In Evan's hand.
I actually cannot tell from this angle what card that is.
Yeah.
If you can tell what card that is, maybe you'd like
I
to
think
tell
that
us.
that's a dissolve in his hand right now, so he's shy on fighting over it. I believe that dissolve, there may be part of the reason that Max Tietze did not counter that first spell. The dissolve mana was open, and the second spell, he thought, you know what, the dissolve mana is not open right now, that's just fine. Thassa says, let's see what's on top.
Scry 1. Looks at his hand, looks at the card. Puts it on the table. And picks up his library. Doesn't want it. Draws a card, and now Evan has drawn quite a few lands. Undoubtedly the Biden of Thassa doing some work. There you go, that Tide Binder Mage, just a 2/2 Grizzly Bear here. And
Now
the Nightveil Spectre.
With all of these creatures in play, we have now gotten to the point where Thassa lives.
Lives again and is unblockable.
Is this going to be another Celestial Flare? Oh, sacrifice. Ouch. Now, Evan had already seen one of these Celestial Flares.
Yeah.
That might have been a very overly aggressive attack.
Yeah, target player sacrifices an attacking or blocking creature, so Indestructible does not interact with that. Evan West committing a Tidebinder Mage and a Nightveil Spectre to the board. The Tidebinder Mage is basically useless.
Are we going to see
mean,
a Supreme
it's a 2/2.
Verdict? That would be excellent for Max Tietze if he... Oh, is that a pass?
He may have asked how many cards in your hand. Yeah, he wasn't passing. Yeah, that's a Supreme Verdict right there when you attack with a 1/1, just to see what would happen. Maybe your opponent won't block and you'll get 1 point of damage in.
And a land after the Supreme Verdict. And what's this, an Elspeth? No, Aetherling with blue open, but Gainsay in Evan West's hand to say no. Now Max Tietze all but tapped out. Untapped Evan West, what do you have for us? I see a Jace.
I think that was the card that we were unsure about, the Gainsay, the old art Gainsay.
There it is, and that is not any Jace. That's Jace, Architect of... No, pardon
Memory
me.
Adept.
Memory Adept. And Jace Memory Adept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 cards go away. Max Tietze has to find something very quickly. He's going right to the face here with that 0 ability. Probably only 1 or 2 turns until he's dead.
Yeah, needs a Detention Sphere, really. Oh, he's gonna
Draws a card.
cycle.
Land, go. Wow, Evan West here really taking this game over.
How
Mill
many
for
Memory
10.
Adepts does Evan have? Oh, I've got it in front of me. He's got 2 copies. Probably maybe brought in both. Gonna attack with a Mutavault for value as well. Actually, a lot of value. He gets to draw a card with the Bident.
And Frostburn weird. That's it, says Max Tietze. Let's go to game 3. 20 minutes remain. That should be plenty
Yeah,
for
it
both
should
of
be.
these players to be able to finish this game 3.
All right, so Kyle Sharfroth, thank you. He did point out that it's the original art Gainsay that we were unable to recognize in Evan West's hand, and that was the critical card that countered the Aetherling that Max Tietze tried to play to take over the game, and he was unable to do so, and then fell to the +0. Is it +0 or -0? It's just 0. The 0 activation of Jace Memory
Let's
Adept.
Let's call it the 0.
Plus or minus 0. Mill 10. -10.
Now, if you're just joining us, you missed the first 2 games, Blue-White Control versus Mono-Blue Devotion. We're about to go into game 3, Max Tietze versus Evan West. Max on the left with Blue-White Control, Evan on the right with the Blue Devotion deck. Now, Blue-White Control is a deck we have not seen as much, mostly because Esper Control seems to be the typical way that players are building these decks. One of the things that happens if you're playing a blue-white control list as opposed to Esper, Esper can play all of the spells that you can play. So why would you play blue-white control? 2 reasons. 1, you get access to Mutavault, which Max Tietze is running. Now, Esper can also play Mutavault, but when they're trying to balance their 3 colors of mana, it's asking a lot.
I like Esper a lot better right now because it has access to the temples. It has Temple of Deceit and Temple of Silence, the two ones. There, the black or the blue-white temple is not out yet. I mean, obviously we're anticipating that it will be out in one of the future sets, but without access to that, I mean, Max Tietze here is running 4 Azorius Guild Gates, and don't you think he would just want the temples?
Oh, certainly. Now, so he does get to play, when he's playing blue-white, he does get to play Mutavault. And the other thing he gets is he gets a more stable color base overall than the Esper deck does. The temples are obviously a very, very good card, but one of the things that Max Tietze doesn't have to worry about as much, it's harder for him to get color, to be lacking a color when he's only running 2.
That's true. The color screw is a thing with Esper decks, as is the kind of come into play tap screw. I've seen Esper decks run into trouble where they have too many temples in their hand and they can't. Every play is a turn too late, and if a Supreme Verdict is a turn too late, you may just be dead.
Blue-white control in many ways is just a little bit more stable against aggressive decks, but what it does do is it gives up the power of those black cards that can happen over the long period of time in a game.
Yeah, and you're really depending, you're leaning on your Supreme Verdict and Detention Spheres. You don't have access to any of the black type removal spells, Heroes, Downfall, possibly Doomblade.
I mean, he does have his 4 Detention Spheres, but an Esper deck can run Detention Spheres ×4 and play Heroes Downfall, so...
Yeah, I think I like what Max has done here. We've seen his main deck, he's got 2 Celestial Flares and 2 more copies in his sideboard. He's using those as a replacement for those black spells.
Yeah, I know not so long ago, I guess it'd be about 2 years ago when I was playing Blue-White Control, because I lacked a card like a Doomblade style card, I ran 1 Dispense Justice, and it wasn't a pretty card. Dispense Justice, white 2, instant, target attacker sacrifices a creature, attacking creature, or if you've got enough artifacts, they have to sacrifice 2. But really what it was just I needed a removal spell. I needed a removal spell, and you know what? Max Tietze, same thing here. Celestial Flare. Sometimes you just need any removal spell to help give you those extra cards you're looking for.
It's not a bad removal spell either, because a lot of these decks will attack with one big thing.
Yeah.
You know, a Desecration Demon, Obzedat, Blood Baron of Viscopa.
Yeah.
And especially against Blood Baron, it targets the player, not the creature, so protection doesn't matter.
Killing the Blood Baron is actually really, really difficult for a lot of these decks that only have white-based removal, and that is another answer. Celestial Flare will take care of that. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Ricky Hayashi. I almost said I'm Ricky Hayashi, but that would be incorrect. It's been a long weekend of Magic. This is the 16th round of the StarCityGames.com Open Series featuring the Invitational here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
If you were Ricky Hayashi, then you would not be able to say that you were sitting next to the one and only Ricky Hayashi, which you have done several times.
Well, you are the one and only Ricky Hayashi.
We are the 2 and only Ricky Hayashis. I'm Ricky Hayashi alongside Ricky Hayashi. I can't even say my own name that many times in a row without getting tongue-tied.
Well, if you, after this round, the last final round of the Invitational's Swiss rounds, we're going to have our top 8 figured out, but besides that, there is an open going on, a standard open with 600, and I believe I heard 99 players earlier. That's a lot of players playing Magic this weekend. Here we go. The game begins. We got land versus land. Plains added to the table for Max. Island for Evan West. These players playing fairly rapidly. 14.5 minutes remain. 3 land. And we've got Thassa on turn 3 from Evan West. It does resolve. Unfortunate for Max Tietze. He's going to need to do something to try to keep up with the incremental value that the Thassa will give. And we see a Hallowed Fountain. This says to me, I bet you that Max does not have a Jace. Otherwise, he could have just dropped down 2 damage, get a Jace in play. But instead, land, go.
And Evan West scries and draws Night Veil Spectre.
That's a card I'd like to stop if I could.
Yeah.
Last Breath, counterspell of some kind, Dissolve, Gainsay. Is that
Last Breath.
Last Breath. Gain 4 life, Evan West.
And Exile. So Evan West missing his 4th land drop, and we do see that some people are saying that Evan may have played 2 lands in the previous game, in game 2, in 1 turn. So we're going to see if we can take a look at that. Unfortunately, we missed it at the time.
And we have right there, Frostburn Weird. 3 devotion right now for blue, showing.
Very key.
Max Tietze draws. It's 4 mana to 5 mana. Thassa just digging turn after turn, increasing the quality of Evan's plays. Max Tietze lays a 6th land.
Go for
Detention Sphere.
All right, so Detention Sphere on the Thassa.
You can see Gainsay in Evan West's hand right now. Will he stop that Detention Sphere? He says it's fine. And end of the turn, nothing happens. Untap, 20 to 24 life. Mutavault added to the table for Evan West. You see Jace in hand for Evan West. In for 1 right now.
Could be more. 1, all of it. In
All
for 4.
in.
And so he's leaving. So this may be a giveaway to Max that Evan's got the Gainsay in his hand. He did not attack with the Mutavault there, and he did see the Gainsay, you know, in the previous game.
Divination. There are 3 Divinations in Max Tietze's deck. I like that a lot. Divination, one of my favorite cards in control decks for quite a while now. Is this going to be another Thassa? There's another Thassa. We might have a fight over this Thassa. Max has 3 mana up. Evan West has 2 mana and a Gainsay up.
Yeah.
Will it resolve?
I feel like Max knowing, I mean, he doesn't know, but maybe sniffing out that that Gainsay is there, choosing not to fight over this Thassa here because he can untap and maybe go Detention Sphere on the Thassa with Counterspell backup.
Another land. Max's land stretch all the way up to the top of the screen. I think just barely off the screen even.
Also, the Thassa right now, not a big threat. I mean, Scry 1 is a nice effect, but
6 mana.
it's no Elspeth. It's no Elspeth Sun's Champion. Gonna come down immediately +1 and get 3 soldier tokens.
Gainsay this.
You can't. It's white. You can Glare of Heresy it, but Evan is on mono blue Devotion. All right, so he's scrying right now, Evan is, and he decides to keep it on top and draw it.
It was a land apparently that he drew, and he asks Max, how many cards you got? Max says, I've got 2. Jace. Jace by itself completely answers all of the soldiers. Max, sounds like Max is saying, yep, that works.
So Jace, Architect of Thought +1s, so all of those soldiers will be -1 power on the attack, not able to do anything. But Max can also just keep on pumping out soldier tokens here until he can ultimate that Elspeth. So Evan is going to need to find enough devotion to make Thassa a creature or find another creature, make it unblockable, attack that Elspeth. He does have a Mutavault he could make unblockable. So Evan does have the ability to contain Elspeth and keep it from going ultimate.
7 of 10. Good luck and have fun.
And you can see Max Tietze here mulling over his options. Tapping 3 mana. Is this going to be another Divination? Nope, Detention Sphere. Gainsay sitting in Evan West's hand. He says no. Does Max have anything to respond? Evan West is tapped out.
There you go. Dissolve.
He says no back.
Scry 1. Looks. Puts it on the bottom.
The Detention Sphere resolves. Gonna take out either Jace or Thassa.
I think Jace at this point.
Jace seems like a very good one to take out. Thassa still gets a little scary over time.
But the Jace is blanking all these soldier tokens for one thing.
Oh yeah,
and it's providing 2 devotion for Thassa.
Oh, they're both very reasonable cards to choose. You can see Max here trying to determine which one he wants to go after.
Thassa. Choose Thassa.
He
I'm sorry, I mean
chooses-
Jace. I misspoke. I said Jace earlier. I wanted to take Jace. I just like saying Thassa better. Such a nice
And
name.
+1 on Elspeth.
Scry 1. Looks.
Bident, it looks like, is in his hand. I can't see the top of his library. Looks like he's going to
Bottom.
bury that one.
Buries it to the bottom of his library.
Do you remember the keyword bury? I missed that one.
Of course I do. Bury used to be the short word for destroy, cannot be regenerated.
We see another Jace, and this one is immediately brought up to a 5. It doesn't even spend any time as a 4. Evan's like, no, 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 no. -1, -0 to all attackers next turn. That's what I prefer.
But Elspeth inching closer. To that ultimate, up to 6 counters now, gonna be 7 when he activates, and it is -7 to ultimate to get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and have flying. And then the soldier tokens would say, we don't care about you, Jace. So this is a precarious position for Evan West. I think he's gonna need to take a turn off from casting spells in order to activate the Mutavault, make it unblockable with Thassa, and go at Elspeth's loyalty. Knock it down 2 notches.
That sounds about right. That'll take 4 mana to accomplish, but it'll at least buy Evan a lot of time on this very problematic situation.
Yeah, the Jace, Architect of Thought, currently holding all the 1/1 soldiers at bay, but not going to hold off 3/3 flying soldiers.
Tidebinder Mage gives Thassa, brings Thassa to life. Thassa is now a huge creature that is alive and well.
And make Thassa unblockable. That's even better.
Unblockable.
Yeah.
Take that, Elspeth.
Boom. Take 5, go down to 2. Jace ticks up once again, holding those soldier tokens at bay. Now Max, oh, he's got a detention, another detention sphere, 3rd copy. So he is going to be able to deal with this Thassa one way or another, either by taking it directly or removing some devotion.
Invitation of the betters, that is time.
What do you, would you go for the Jace again like Max did last time, or just go directly for the Thassa this time because the Tidebinder Mage providing so much more devotion?
It's really, honestly, quite a hard call. Let's see what Max has been playing this deck all weekend. Let's see what he chooses. We see Detention Sphere.
I feel like he has to go for the Thassa at this point.
See if Evan has any answers.
No?
He doesn't. Goodbye, Jace.
Goes for the Jace again. Maybe he's got like another 1-for-1 type answer for the Tidebinder Mage, like a Last Breath. Or maybe he's got something like Celestial Flare or Zorius Charm and is just baiting Evan into increasing devotion again and attacking with Thassa.
Look at all those soldiers. That's, I believe, 12 soldiers in play.
Yeah. And next turn, unless Evan plays another Jace Architect of Thought, next turn those soldiers can get into the red zone as 1/1s. And this, we started off with 20 minutes, approximately. They did sideboard a little, but approximately 20 minutes when we started this game 3. We are now down to less than 6 minutes, and someone's got to win. The winner of this match is gonna, well, we know Max Tietze would make the top 8. Evan West, we may have to look at tiebreakers and all that, but essentially a win and in here. No draws are acceptable for these players.
Evan West here contemplating apparently activating Thassa. Looks like that's what happens.
But we see he also did have a 3rd copy of Jace Architect of Thought in his hand, so he could have tried casting that and then attacking with Thassa.
Celestial Flare, it looks like kills the Tidebinder Mage.
Some spell was just cast by Max, yeah.
There, it's a Last Breath, actually. Yeah. And Jace, 1 card left in Evan West's hand, and immediately, once again, +1. All of the soldiers held back by a single Jace Architect of Thought.
All your soldiers, they do nothing.
The power of my mind.
Yeah, he has architected a position here. So that's 12, 15 soldiers. I gotta keep track of this because there's so many of them. They're stacked on top of each other. 15 1/1 soldiers. That would be 0 1s on the attack. And again, Evan West, can he find something that provides 2 devotion, make Thassa unblockable, and take out that Elspeth? This has been kind of the tension here, the battle, Max trying to get Elspeth to ultimate so that his soldiers can just run amok or fly amok, and Evan West holding them at bay with the Jace Architect of Thought +1 ability, and picked away one time with Thassa to deal 5 points of damage to Elspeth, but not enough devotion right here.
Bident joins the party, and we're going to see the last card in Evan's hand. He activates Mutavault. He gives the Mutavault unblockable, attacks Elspeth, no cards in hand.
Okay, so now Evan wisely perhaps playing around, Azorius Charm and or Celestial Flare, not committing his Thassa alone to combat, despite the fact that he has enough devotion. And Max Tietze fiddling with his hand, perhaps indicating that he has one of those spells, but deciding is it worth it to use it on a Mutavault here, decides no, or maybe was just bluffing.
And we see Elspeth drops down to 2. Tapped out, empty-handed, Evan West passes the turn.
Now he does have the Celestial Flare in his hand, Max Tietze does. +1 on the Elspeth. So this may force Evan to commit the Thassa to combat next turn, but he can do so with the Mutavault and make them both unblockable. So if Max Tietze casts Celestial Flare, he can just sacrifice the Mutavault. Now if the combination is Celestial Flare plus Azorius Charm, that's trouble.
Here's the Mutavault.
We'll find out.
Unblockable.
No, just the Mutavault.
At
so
Elspeth.
Wow. Evan West showing a lot of patience here, yeah?
Looks like it. And we see a +1 on Jace once again. Max Tietze once again passes the turn without a card that he really would love to see, a card like Sphinx's Revelation.
And now 2 minutes left on the clock. What is going to happen here? Are these players just going to draw out of the top 8? Unintentional draw?
Bident, all those soldiers have to attack.
Yeah, that's...
Oh my goodness gracious, he blocked with Thassa. Does he have the Celestial Flare?
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
So he was so patient, he played around the Celestial Flare on the attack, but perhaps forgetting that it also can make you sacrifice a blocking creature. Evan West loses the Thassa, which was so important because it was providing unblockability. Elspeth at 2, so if Max has not attacking with the Mutavault. He doesn't
attack with the Mutavault. I think he's tilting a little bit right now.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, divination from Max Tietze. That was a big turn.
Although he did tick up his Jace Architect of Thought to 8, so he can ultimate next turn and look at Max's deck and try to find something to cast. Oh, but that was a sequence right there.
Azorius Charm from Max, casting to draw a card.
Less than a minute left on the clock. Elspeth ticking up. Evan should definitely bite in here to make those soldiers attack into the Jace +1 just to make sure.
He's given up this game.
Well, he's gonna. He ultimates Jace, but is there anything in Max's deck?
Well, let's say if Max has the
Supreme Verdict, right?
Max has Aetherling in his deck. That's a thing. And then he gets to search his own library as well for another card. And I believe we saw a Jace Memory Adept in this.
So while he was searching with the Jace, the ultimate, time did expire, so now Evan West is turn 0, And then these two players will have 5 additional turns to try to figure out who's going to win.
Yeah, the -8 ability does not happen very often. And Evan West needs to finish this game out. Unfortunately
Those life
for him,
totals.
look at those life totals. He unfortunately has to face off against all of these soldiers. He can get another Jace from either Max or from himself, but this could well be a draw.
Yeah,
Ooh, detention sphere. Look at that.
So Supreme Verdict from Max's deck to clear out the soldier tokens. The 4th copy of Detention Sphere, he was considering it, did not choose to get that one. Detention Sphere could have dealt with Elspeth.
You know, I kind of wonder, perhaps Evan West, given his record at 11-3-1, perhaps 11-3-2 might be close enough to be able to have a run at the top 8. Max Tietze, 12-3-1, I don't think he wants that, but it could be that Evan West can make top 8 with a draw here.
Maybe, and maybe he has enough here to win. He has a Jace, Memory Adept. Oh, but Max Tietze has the Dissolve. And a Dissolve back from Evan West, so this Jace is going to resolve, as will Supreme Verdict. Obviously, that one is uncounterable. So all of those soldier tokens go away. And the Jace Memory Adept going to go for the 0 ability. Milieu for 10. Evan West is turn 0. He's going to get 2 more turns. 2 more activations of Jace. Has to be enough, right? And Max Tietze has already committed 3 detention spheres to the board. We did see Evan was looking at the 4th one. Maybe Evan should have considered getting the detention sphere instead of the Supreme Verdict to take out the soldier tokens, just to deny Max access to it.
That sounds good to me. We see an attempt at attacking there, and that is taken care of by yet another white removal spell from Max. Max on turn 1 now of extra turns.
Yep, and starts ticking up the Elspeth again.
Remember that Elspeth should be dead.
Yeah. That was several turns ago where Evan had a chance to attack with the Mutavault at Elspeth on 2 loyalty with Max tapped out.
Turn 2, milling for another 10.
Wow, and this here, Elspeth making 3 tokens critically, 1 damage short of being able to take out Jace. And Max, he does not have a Mutavault anywhere in there, right, Adrian?
I don't see one.
Yeah, he spreads the lands out a little more. There are no Mutavaults. That also could have been enough to take out the Jace.
On Max's turn, it's going to be turn 3.
And a
Thassa still, this is still turn 2 for Evan West. And we see Essence Scatter counter that.
It is a creature on the stack, no matter what your devotion is. And
Max Tietze. Wow, turn 3 for Max.
He needs to interact with that Jace right here. He attacks with it. That's going to knock the loyalty down to 1, but not enough. The Jace milling ability is a 0 ability. And Max does not have the detention sphere. He makes 3 soldiers and passes. Is this enough? 10 cards or less? It's all of them.
And guess what? Max Tietze,
Turn 5. Wow.
Oh, that is it.
Amazing sequence right there. Evan West seemed like he made a couple